Here we are laughing at the intro again. Welcome everybody to another episode of Mirrorless Minutes. We're on our third birthday together, Mike and I. And we couldn't think of a better way to celebrate our birthday than bringing on a guest. And I'm going to say not just any guest. I think it's probably one of the most exciting guests we've had on the show yet. We just want to give a welcome to Jayson Oertel. Jayson is here. He works at Adobe. And I guess if you're into anything creative, you know the name Adobe. Jayson's title is, you know what? I'm going to let Jayson introduce himself because his title,
can you let him say
his CV is a little longer than most people. So go ahead, Jayson, introduce yourself.
Thank you for that. Hi, everyone. I'm Jayson Oertel, and I have a very long title, but it's Social Strategy for Digital Video and Audio Products, as well as Students in Education. So basically, I work on and shape the global social strategy for a lot of our video and audio products, such as Premiere Pro, After Effects, Adobe Audition, and also I work on the student and education side, which is a very similar audience where we inspire the young emerging creators and people in like media arts programs in school and basically get them in front of Adobe Creative Cloud products and inspire them to create.
That's awesome. You know, it's kind of cool that you're shaping the next generation of content creators. I mean, if it wasn't for Adobe, I mean, would we be where we are as far as having this generation of, you know, YouTube creatives out there? I mean, the tools that are needed to create that content, you know, Adobe basically runs them all. So
yeah, it's funny. You know, working for Adobe or even prior, like as a creative, everyone knows Adobe, right? But what's interesting is we take it for granted as a creative because you would think that, well, what else is there out there? What's the competition? Adobe owns the market. Yes, that may be the case, but at the same time, when people hear of products, they kind of break them down from a product specific standpoint. Everyone's heard of Photoshop. Everyone just talks about Photoshop. In a lot of cases, they don't realize we make Premiere Pro, which is, you know, a video program or a video editing program, or we have After Effects, which is for visual effects that's tied to that. And people don't know the relationship of the Creative Cloud and how all these products complement each other. And in most cases, they're so integrated now that you can directly do stuff from Photoshop into Premiere or After Effects into Premiere and Lightroom and all of that. So it's all coming together now nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, you know, Jayson, and believe me, this is probably the kind of person you're looking for. Me is not done a lot of video. I'm using just the Premiere clip on my iPad, you know, I mean, the simple clip, but I can take everything and drop it right into Premiere, right through the cloud. Yeah. I just realized that the other day, and when it drops in, it's already dropped in on the timeline. I went, video started.
Yeah. And, you know, and what I recommend for everyone to do is take advantage of the Creative Cloud. You know, you, as part of your membership to Creative Cloud, you have a version where you can upload files up in the cloud, and those, you know, go across to all, not only devices, but all products within the cloud. So you can open, you know, and import things into each program. So I highly recommend taking advantage of that as much as you can, especially as we're seeing that most content creators are on the go now. And Mike, you and Jamie now with the NAR boxes, again, just prove the point that everyone is on the go. And we're not just talking, you know, a compartmentalized issue. This is a worldwide phenomena that's happening. Everyone's on the go. People need access to their files right then and there to be able to quickly, not just create, but quickly edit and do what they need to do post-production wise and get it out there from no matter where they're at.
You know, I can I threw just these clips that I made with my TG5, this little silly thing I cleaned in my garage. I made it on the plane on the iPad going over to Rhode Island. And then when I got down, obviously I sent it all night. So back in the hotel, that's where I dropped it. And last night that's where I learned it. I said, I dropped it all right into Premiere Pro. I said, hey, now I can start a real, you know, video on this thing with, you know, all kinds of stuff on it. So yeah, real exciting about that.
Yeah, it's, and also, you know, kind of where we're at from, I can't give away too many details, but from, you know, a product standpoint, we're doing really exciting things kind of behind the doors and behind the under the hood that, you know, in the coming months, it's just going to be a very exciting time. We're really looking at how people are using our products. We're really looking at the market and how people are just creating and, you know, what their needs are from a content creation and also like a syndication standpoint. So we're really looking at that, and we're making a lot of strides in those regards. You know, especially around a lot of our pro products, like Premiere Pro, we have like team projects that's in beta and things like that, where we're enabling, you know, multiple people or groups to simultaneously work together on the same project seamlessly. So it's something that we're really focused on, and I would say we're kind of ahead of the pack and from a creative product standpoint on that.
You know, there are a lot of implications to being able to do something collaboratively like that. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, and then crazy as it is, like the first thing that came to my mind was Mike and I working on some sort of project together. And then the next thought immediately was, we're both still fairly fresh at Premiere. And then the ability to teach somebody Premiere, being able to use, you know, the same project timeline together, you know, and via chat or whatever, explain, okay, this is what I'm doing here, you know, and then, you know, being able to have that person on the other side, you know, see a change happen to the project and work through it that way.
And we're almost there to where you and Mike, I mean, Mike, from what I've experienced, that man is all over the country. So, you know, pretty soon you and Mike will be able to be working simultaneously on the same files from the Creative Cloud and being able to make real-time updates that each other will see. So who knows where Mirrorless Minutes will end up a year from now. It maybe evolved into where you guys are creating a lot more content outside of the live content that you guys can collaborate on in real time. And, you know, and with the democratization of, you know, the creativity and these products, it's just making it easier to where there's no barrier anymore. And that's actually why I'm here with you guys, is I want to talk about that. We want to bring the barrier down. And I don't know if Jamie, I've seen it kind of addressed in some social posts earlier, but you know, one of the things that I'd love to talk about, and especially to your photography viewers, is a lot of photographers are making the jump or trying to make the jump to video. Right. There's a lot of fear behind it because, you know, it's just another tool you have to learn. There's, and what we're seeing is people are kind of prioritizing that fear over the creativity. And get over it. You know, let's focus on the creativity. And we, you know, from an Adobe standpoint, I want to be here to tell you that we have a ton of resources that we can direct you to get you over the hump. We have great products that are going to simplify your life, that are going to, you know, not only just make it easier to go from an idea to a final output, but in the process of that, it's going to be a familiar UI that you're used to, whether you use Photoshop or Lightroom every day. So there's the familiarity factor to it. So there's, you know, a lot of things that are here, but I think most importantly, it's that also that we're listening to you. Adobe, and this is funny, I'm fairly new to Adobe. I've been here, you know, just shy of 6 months. And one of the things that's really amazing about Adobe is we actually listen to our customers. You hear a lot of companies say that, and yes, they may listen to their customers, but you know, maybe it takes about a year to have like a feedback loop to where they integrate any changes based on the feedback. We actually try to do it in real time to where we're constantly talking with creatives and creators and professionals in the industry and getting feedback and implementing those into our monthly rollouts. So it's really a neat thing. And then one more thing on that is we take it so seriously that in our San Jose office, our headquarters in San Jose, on the Premiere Pro floor, we actually have on this giant wall, and I'll try to find a photo during the show and see if I can share it, but we actually have a audio waveform artwork that takes up the entire wall. That the waveform actually is the words, something along the lines of customer feedback. And we take it so seriously that it's actually on our wall as artwork in there. So yeah, really neat stuff.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. So we've got somebody in the chat room, Ken Nagel from Cleveland. He's just kind of curious if because video is becoming so important in the world of photography, and I know you don't have a direct answer for this, but I'll just throw it out there because it's something you can take back to what I would call the mothership, I guess. There's a question regarding, you know, could there be a potential for there to be a photographer's plan like there is now for Creative Cloud, but one that would incorporate some of the video software like Premiere, just because the leap from the photographer's plan pricing to be able to get a hold of Premiere is
we're talking 10 to 50 bucks, right? Yeah. $40 jump. Yeah.
Right.
So great question. I officially can't answer that, but let's just say, you know, stay tuned. There's a lot of exciting things happening, and, you know, we're always testing new things out. So I would just say, you know, keep an eye on Adobe, follow our social channels, because we do update all the time as soon as we get them. You know, we want to get the information out to the audience. Mm-hmm. But I wish I could answer that, but you know, stay tuned.
Oh, I understand.
I think he'll be.
It's a very valid question that we hear a lot.
I was just going to say, I'm sure you hear it a lot.
And I'm sure he'd be satisfied to know that we at least got to deliver the message to somebody who works directly with the products at Adobe and can carry the message back. So I mean,
we hear you. You know, in fact, one of the biggest things that's been trending the last few months or 6 months or a year was the speed of Lightroom, you know, especially on mobile and desktop. We heard, we addressed, and we're continually addressing it. So it's definitely something that we are actively working on, and, you know, we have to make our board members happy, but at the same time, we want to make our customers happy.
Sure. You know, it's good to hear that, though, from somebody who's working at Adobe, that you're listening, you know, and that the feedback is listened to and valued, you know, very highly. And then you guys work towards addressing, you know, whatever the top concerns are of your customers, you know. And you really can't be in business without doing it that way today anyway. So, I mean, there's no reason to think Adobe wouldn't be like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we are, and, you know, I think one of the great things that a lot of people don't really know about Adobe is we are a company of creatives. And I was talking with Mike and Jamie, you know, prior to going live on this, is our company, I can't walk through the halls without, or being in a meeting without somebody that's either a former photographer, designer, someone in the film industry, you know, something. Everyone that works at Adobe has a creative background, which just makes it so much easier, because we all know creatives are the most finicky people out there, and everything has to be just right. So imagine, you know, 13,000 people like that at a company. Things get done. We definitely talk about things. We definitely talk about where our shortcomings are, but also we have that reality check from the engineers and stuff that kind of put, you know, product teams that put things in perspective, that kind of level set us and put us on a reasonable path of success to get things implemented.
Right, exactly. So, well, tell me, Jayson, I mean, so I know we're talking about Adobe, but I want to get into a little bit about you.
Yes.
And find out, like, I know you're into video, obviously. I mean,
a little bit dabbling, mostly drone stuff like you, Mike.
Okay. But like photographer wise, so what excites you? What hits your buttons or pushes your buttons? You know?
I've had a really interesting path on photography, and it's funny. I picked up the camera when I first got serious into photography was in about 2009. At the time, I was working at 20th Century Fox and you know, doing movie marketing. And what's interesting about it was the group that I worked in, we did a lot of creative content, and a lot of those guys that did the video stuff were photographers. And so I think a lot of that rubbed off on me. I saw the excitement and interest. I'm really into gear. I love gear. So these guys were all about their, you know, Leicas, and you know, they had like these very expensive cameras that I couldn't afford. But one of the guys turned me on to Trey Ratcliffe, and I followed his very first HDR tutorial and did it, and it came out awesome. And it just, from then on, something snapped in me that I loved photography. That, you know, even before that, I was a designer. That's kind of my background, is I was a designer. So I've always had this creative bone in me. But, you know, once you catch that photography bug, something changes in you. You're chasing that. It's like you're always chasing that next best photo.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And so every photo I make, I have to outdo it the next time, or I try to. and what's great about it is it all depends on the mood you're in, right? So I kind of embarked on the HDR-esque photography for a while, And then as a stroke of luck, I had a magazine on the East Coast, like I think it was Hampton's Magazine, I don't remember what it was called, but they published one of my photos and reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to go out and shoot for them in Long Island, and for like a resort or something. I was like, yeah, sure. So I did. And why not, right? So I did that, and then I kind of started doing that for a couple different people, and most of them were like online blogs or travel sites. So by no means was it a sustainable income, but it was just fueling my photography passion and kind of getting my work out there, and more importantly, making relationships. And so I got burned out after a while, because you can only, well, I say this then, I got burned out because I was like, how many bridges and beaches can I shoot? I wanted to shoot people. I want people in there. So then I kind of studied Zach Arias and his lighting techniques, and then went the route into shooting people. And then I was working in the movies doing movie marketing at the time, and I had the opportunity to shoot some key art and some set stills for movies. So I got my people, and I don't know. And I've just been chasing it since then. My style has been all over the place between landscape and street and, whatever at that moment fancies me. So I think just recently in this last year, I've been starting to really settle into a style that I have, but that style is still all over the place in terms of, street, landscape, and
whatever genre it might be or whatever.
Yeah. Right? And then it's funny, I wrote this blog post, once I got my first drone, and that has completely changed the game, because
big time. In
the past, as a photographer, we had the X and Y axis, we could go, walk left or walk right and walk forward and back, and maybe hold our camera over our head. But now we have a Z axis where we can get 400 feet above our subject and shoot it from a whole new perspective.
Right.
So that really excites me. And I've been really playing around with, drone aerial photography and stuff like that. And then, as you can imagine, working at Adobe, I'm really putting our products through the paces. So I've been really hyper focused on developing a lot of my Lightroom presets and and packaging them. But what I'm really focused on is creating the right ones that are very universally, adaptive to whatever type of photo you're shooting. Because right now you can download packs of, 30 different presets, and maybe out of all those 30, only one could work on that photo for you without, adjusting it like crazy. So I'm really focused on playing with tones and, different aspects on how it could be universal across different photos. So if you follow me on my Instagram, you can kind of see some of that work in progress, and I talk about it a little bit. So
and you've shown, I know just because from pre-show stuff here, but you'll be able to talk about it because you're definitely showing some of your presets when you go through your photos.
Yeah, it'd probably be a good time to do that now. But just really quickly, you said for people to follow you on Instagram. I'm assuming that your handle is right there in your lower third.
Yeah, it's on my lower third. Jayson Oertel.
Is that the same across all social? So Twitter as well?
Twitter as well. Not super active on Twitter. I'll share things here and there. I'm trying, I don't know. You guys know how it goes.
I'm sort of like that.
I'm just waiting for that next great social platform for us photographers.
We need one. We really need one. So, with that, so we were talking about presets and we're talking about your developing style. Let's do an image share, and then you can kind of speak to each image and talk about that kind of in length.
Okay, so we practiced this before. Let's share these, and let me know if you guys can see that.
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, so this first shot it's an aerial shot. It's taken with this is before I got the Mavic. This is the Phantom 3 Professional, and this is literally 400 feet above my house. So I live just south of San Francisco in a little sleepy town called Pacifica, which is on the Pacific Ocean side of it. And you can see the sun setting over there on the left. So that mountain range there on the left is called Mount Montara. And just on the other side of that mountain is Half Moon Bay. So if you know the geography, that's kind of the direction. So we're looking due west. You can see the little body of water. It's like a little cove there. That's called Lindamar State Beach. And, you know, I shot this in RAW on the Phantom, and I have a set of HDR presets that I made. So, you know, this is not an HDR photo. It's just, I'm kind of doing a faux HDR through presets that I've created. So I really punched the sky up, hyper saturated the sunset, and then kind of added, you know, lighten the shadows on the foreground there. So this next shot, this was so there's this area that's called the Fitzgerald Marine Reserve, which is just north of Half Moon Bay. And it has this really cool little hiking area of all these really cool trails with these trees, and it's, you know, the fog comes through here almost every day. So it's very spooky if you go at the right time. So my kids love going on, you know, little walks and adventures through this little tree forest. So like always, I have my camera with me, and I just saw this shot to where it just looked so eerie and desolate, and it just evoked this emotion that's just kind of lonely, but at the same time, it's not scary. So I don't know, something about it I really liked. In terms of presets, there really wasn't a lot of work done in post on this. It was just bumping contrast, and then I think it was just adding vignette. I don't think I really messed around with other settings other than that.
Yeah, you can feel the mist almost in that.
Yeah, and like I said, it's kind of spooky sometimes, but I don't know. It was just I don't know. If you guys ever make it out to the West Coast, definitely hit this place up, because I have another shot down here that I'll show you that's from, you know, about 40 yards away from where this was shot.
Oh, wow.
So this photo I made this past weekend. There's an area in San Francisco called the Sutro Baths. And what it is back in the early 1900s, there was, you know, right on this little inset of the beach here, there was all these man-made pools that would fill with seawater that people used to go and hang out and swim in.
Yeah, you gotta, I gotta interrupt you. You gotta go check out the history on this.
Yeah.
Because I've been there a lot.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy, right? But it's beautiful at the same time. And what's interesting is every time I've gone there, I've always left with a photo that I really like. So this one, I was out walking around with the family, and I saw this young couple just sitting there, and I was like, oh, you know, grab that moment. That's my decisive moment right there. So this is actually one of the Lightroom presets that I'm working on, and I'm hoping to deliver a kind of like a look of 5 different presets that are kind of in the same general look and feel. So, you know, this is a work in progress. I am noticing some mistakes now that I look at it, but, you know, I'll address those. But I really like this photo. It just is kind of natural and fun, and I don't know, something about it I liked. This next photo is another place in San Francisco called the Mechanics Institute, and it is a private library that you have to be a member of to get access to. What they don't tell you is they really encourage photographers to come in and shoot this very famous staircase in there. And the security guards are super nice. And if you go in there, they will let you set up tripods and the whole 9. They'll even keep people back while you get your shot. So it's really great. Highly recommend if anyone makes it to San Francisco to go shoot this. There's not a bad angle at this. So this was shot from the top looking down.
Oh, wow. I would have known that. Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. This next photo, I was in Korea for work a few years back, and I was doing some street photography. And what I liked about this is I really liked the tones. You know, the area that it was at was kind of this industrial marketplace that had this really kind of gritty but energetic vibe to it. And this woman had this little makeshift shop set up where she's selling anything from lighters to deodorant to lotion and vitamins. But what was really interesting about her is whenever anyone would approach her to buy something, she'd scream at them and shoo them out of the way and shoo them off. So I still trying to understand how she stays in business, but I don't know. It was just I really like this shot. It just captured her personality when she's just standing there and no one was around.
Oh, I love how organized everything is. I mean,
oh yeah, it was beautiful.
The market around her seems like chaos, except her table is beautifully organized.
Yeah, and like I said, like it's like she takes pride in this, but at the same time, she doesn't want to do business. I don't know. Maybe it's a Korean thing that I didn't understand, like a cultural thing, but who knows? All right, this next shot. This is a few minutes from my house. There's this area called Rockaway Beach, and I just walked right up to the edge there, had my Lee filters big stopper on, and we had a storm coming in. I don't remember the setting. I think this was like roughly around 20 or 30 seconds with the big stopper. This is about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock p.m. And then again, playing with some Lightroom presets, especially around split toning with the blues and pinks. So I'm going to be releasing a split tone preset pack. All right. So this next photo, earlier we talked about that Fitzgerald Marine Reserve, that where the spooky kind of misty shot was. So this was taken 40 yards away from that, kind of down the cliff, if you will, on the bottom. So to be upfront, this is a composite shot. So this was taken over the course of multiple hours, where I was set up on a tripod. The bottom part of it was kind of shot at about blue hour, right when the sun was going down, and then I waited like 3 or 4 hours and got the Milky Way. So, and also the Milky Way was a lot higher in the sky, so yes, I did bring it down a little bit to make it a little bit more dramatic. So there is some composite here, and also this is a Lightroom preset that I'm working on as well. And for whatever reason, the reason why I like this is I think this reminds me of what I think Mars looks like. So I'm just gonna go with it.
So quick question on the Milky Way portion of that. Is that a stacked shot of the Milky Way as well, or is that a single exposure of the Milky Way?
Single exposure of the Milky Way.
Man, it must be pretty dark there. You're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did have a lot of Lightroom manipulation there to get it right. But yeah, it wasn't, maybe on the screen it looks a lot better than, you know, I'm looking at it, the raw file here up close, and it's, I don't know. You just have to see the file in person and you'll get it.
Yeah, send me the preset for your Milky Way.
I will.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm always looking to improve those.
This next shot here, I actually really love this shot. I don't know why. So this is funny. I shoot Fuji, and sorry, not Olympus. And I was actually
Mirrorless.
What's that?
It's mirrorless.
It is mirrorless.
And we've had lots of Fuji shooters on.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So I'm not alone. I was actually testing this lens out. This was back in 2013 I shot this, so it's not a recent shot, but I was testing the new 10 to 24 lens out that they had. And I was sitting on the beach with my family, and this is smack dab in the middle of the day. This is probably 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. And this surfer just kept walking back and forth, back and forth. He did it about 3 or 4 times. And I told myself, if he walks by one more time, I'm going to make a photo.
I'm going to shoot this.
Sure enough, I see him walking. So again, this is one of my black and white presets where it's really high contrast, and you know, I punched up the highlights and stuff like that. But this photo actually won a contest on Flern, and I don't know, I'm kind of proud about that. I don't remember how many entries. I think they had like 12 or 1,300 entries. This one won. So I don't know, something. And Aaron Nace really liked it. On the YouTube video when he critiqued it, I got really excited. He had such nice things to say, and it was, you know, photography is subjective, and I think he connected to this the same way I did, so which was really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that guy being in the center, you know, some people look at it, I think that makes everything.
It totally makes it. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it
if you
completely makes it.
break the rule of thirds.
Exactly. If you look at this photo, it violates everything in photography.
Yeah, the landscapes. Yeah.
But
horizon.
It works for me.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this next shot, I've always wanted to get the iconic cable car shot in San Francisco. So what did I do? I grabbed my tripod and my long lens on my Fuji, and I went up to the top of California Street. So this is California Street, just you know, up from Powell, looking down towards the bay. You'll see the Bay Bridge in the background. And I waited to get this shot without any people or cars in the background for about maybe 2.5 hours, to where I got this shot. So I waited there all morning, and I finally was I was almost getting ready to give up. And then all of a sudden I looked and I was like, oh my God, there's no cars, there's no people. This is it. And then, so I did take the shot. But what's funny is, I'm going to zoom in. The cable car driver was not too pleased with me. If you can see his face, he's given me a very dirty look. And then shortly after that, he started yelling at me because I was literally set up in front of him on a tripod, and yeah, maybe like 50 to 70 feet away from him. And he was coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, they move. They move quicker than you think, because I've stood in front of them. And it's like, oh God, that's really close. Objects may appear closer than you think.
So that's what I have. So thank you for letting me share. That was fun.
No, we couldn't have you on as a photographer and not have you share photos. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, like I said, my photos are all over the place. I shoot what seems like a good idea at the time.
It's always a good idea if you're behind the shutter button, pushing the button. That's how I look at it.
Yeah,
There's
for
no
sure.
wrong about doing this. Very cool.
Yeah,
so let's talk about a link that you are going to give us to share out, and I'll let you describe that, and then, and then we'll post it out there socially for people to click on.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you know, kind of one of the reasons why I'm on this program today is to talk about and to reach the photographers out there that are looking to either go into video or are afraid to make that transition to video for whatever reason. I have a link to share that I would like to invite you guys, and this is a Mirrorless Minutes exclusive, to join a private beta on a product that we will be releasing in coming months. I can't tell you anything about it until everyone is accepted and fills out the proper NDAs. But let's just say if you're a photographer or you're just a creator that is thinking about going into video creation and editing and sharing, sign up and join our private beta, and you'll get briefed on the product as you know we accept people into the program. But I think you guys will be very excited about what's in store for it. It's gonna really change the game.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, just talking about it, I know I'm excited, and I know Jamie and I how much we appreciate, because I do think a lot of our viewers are, I mean, they're not your high-end YouTubers, professionals, that they do want to get into video. We hear it at our workshops, and heck, I'm thinking, you know, Jamie and I start collaborating. We could collaborate on some of the stuff we're teaching in the workshops. That after, and there's some cool stuff. Yeah. So
so somebody asked in the chat here, and I answered it, and I'm pretty certain I answered it.
Is it relevant if I'm a full CC subscriber? Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yep.
So
this is for everybody. This is for anybody and everybody.
Yep. It's an exclusive thing. So it's not like because you're already, you know, using Adobe software that you have access to this yet, because it's something that's not accessible at this point. So yeah, it's definitely worth the sign up, I think.
Cool. So yeah, and then also I think we have something else we're going to do.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been waiting to do this for a while. So
this is the best part.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. So Jayson has been able to bring with him the opportunity for us to give away a 1-year subscription to the Creative Cloud. And this isn't like a scaled back subscription. This is the full
deal,
the full Monty. You know, this is everything. So for those, you know, who are interested in doing video and don't have a piece of software to edit video with, and if you happen to be the winner of this Creative Cloud subscription, you'll have access to Premiere Pro. You'll have access to Audition. Everything you need to be a creative is included in this. So
that's right. So
we're going to do a giveaway.
Don't forget After Effects if you want to dabble in special effects.
And that's one of those things that I need to start working with. You know,
and you should, Jamie, because one of the features that we have are motion graphics templates that
for intros and outros, things like that. Bumpers.
Well, all kinds of different things that are coming in. We're working with a lot of great artists across the world to create really fun kind of prepackaged effects that you be able to download and implement into your products or projects, not products, projects that are customizable. Yeah, and it's really easy to implement them. And the great thing is they work across Premiere and After Effects. So they're called motion graphics templates. And also, we're doing a big push internally at Adobe that we're going to educate people on what they are and how you can use them and kind of show different use cases for them. So it's something very exciting to follow the Adobe channels on to be updated on that.
So how are we going to do this? We're going to do it like we did our previous giveaways, right, Mike? We're going to ask everybody to share an image, or you know what, if you have a video clip that you've created, you know, I don't care what kind of video clip. It could be an animated GIF file or whatever. Just we want some content.
Time lapse or something.
Great. Yeah. Anything that you guys have done, we want content that you have created and share it with us, you know, and you can do it across any social platform. Just use the because I'll be looking at Instagram, Facebook. I will search on Twitter. Actually,
make sure your accounts are not private. If
exactly,
because we ran into that originally.
We ran into and it cuts you out.
Yeah, we always run into that.
Or if you do the post, if you prefer to keep your stuff locked down, at least make that one post public. You know, if it's on Facebook, you can choose to make an individual post public. So whatever your content is, I can't even talk now. Too much tea. Whatever the content that you share is, just make sure to use the hashtag Mirrorless CC, like Creative Cloud, and we'll search you out, and we'll figure out how we're gonna do this selection. We'll probably get a little, I don't know, random on this whole thing, and just do the random number generator again. It just kind of keeps everything.
Yeah, and we'll probably go. Usually we go for about a month on these, right, Jamie?
Yeah, we're definitely we've got workshops and stuff coming up, so we might run it. You know, we'll give you guys a date for it probably in the next week. But we're probably looking at about 4 to 5 weeks. It'll give everybody plenty of time that if they don't have a piece of content that they want to share for this, to go create something new. And and then we'll do the drawing on the show. Of course, maybe we'll probably just have to get Jayson back on for the drawing. Would be kind of cool.
Fine. And make sure to not only follow Mirrorless Minutes channels, but also the Adobe social channels. Primarily Photoshop, Lightroom, and Premiere Pro and After Effects are great resources. We share a lot of tutorials and, you know, tons of resources to give you information of making the transition. So, and then also our Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel is a wealth of information. If you haven't visited, check it out. We produce content day in and day out that's very relevant to kind of wherever you are in your career or hobby, and we have something for you. So we have numerous playlists. You can search whatever you're looking for. I'm sure we have it. And then finally, make sure to hound Jamie and Mike on all of the meetups and events they do, because I sent them a nice little box of some swag giveaways.
It's not really little. It probably weighs about 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Although I will admit, I stole something from the box, so somebody is not going to get the sweet pair of Adobe Lightroom socks that I took.
I noticed you wearing those. I thought you were going to send me one.
Look, I work in marketing during the day, and I'm constantly in the Adobe suite every day, so I could not show up to work without a pair of Adobe socks on it. So Jayson mentioned all of these channels that Adobe has they're great for learning. They're probably one of the best tools out there. I mean, they're the people that make the tools. Why would you not watch those people? So what I'm going to do after the show, I'm going to get with Jayson. I'm going to get links to all of these channels, and then they will be in the show notes on the YouTube description for this show, and they'll also show up in the iTunes and Google Play description of the podcast as well.
Awesome. Yeah. We didn't see any of your photos, you guys. Come on.
No.
Oh no. Now
we decided this was your night tonight. We haven't even shot in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, I love that comment from James. The Lightroom socks make you walk slower. Hey, have you not updated to the newest version? We've addressed a lot of the performance.
Jayson, hey, I'll tell you what. So Jayson sent me the latest beta of the socks, and I'll tell you what, I'm the fastest guy in the office, so
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. Now you're starting to run like Usain Bolt or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah. All right. So I guess we could probably wrap this up. It was definitely a great birthday present to be able to have Jayson on, and an even greater thing to be able to collaborate with Adobe and give away some cool swag over here in this box. I hate to give up some of these cool shirts and stuff in here, but I'll do it. And then also to be able to give away a year of Creative Cloud. I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And to be able to invite people into a beta for something that is so new and top secret that we can't even tell you what it is yet, and you won't even know until you've already signed up.
I don't even think you guys know what it is.
We don't.
We don't. That's that. I was just gonna say that. I go, Jamie, we don't even flip.
I just need to ask before we've got a lot of subscribers and followers and people that, you know, listen to what we say and take it to heart. Just let me know, honestly, Jayson, if they sign up, they get to keep their kids. They're not giving away anything, right? They're actually going to be a part of something great and wonderful from Adobe, right?
Absolutely. It will be worth it, and it will be fun. And also, this is the best way to learn how Adobe truly takes feedback and implements it into product. So whoever participates in this program will directly have an effect on how this product is brought to market.
How cool is that, everybody? It doesn't get much cooler.
It's brought to you by Mirrorless Minutes. There you go.
Right? That's a good one, Mike. And we don't have to use that.
Right, the timing's everything, right?
Right, it is. So with that said, I'm going to close this thing out and just again say thank you, Jayson, for coming, and thank you, Adobe, for collaborating with us.
No problem. Thank you, everyone.
Possible. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
You're right. Take it easy.